have no authority for what you're about to state because what you're about to state is incorrect. That's not the way it works. You don't get to make the rules.
I'm not.
I'm ordering a competency.
It's against my religion to adhere or to assimilate to any statutory.
As it stands right now, this proceeding is not on indigenous land.
Well, that's a matter of perspective, sir.
It is. And the only perspective that's going to matter on that is mine. Young man, you're going to figure out something. We're playing by my rules, not yours. So you do not say anything because you're going to figure.
Now here's where it gets fascinating. The defendant refuses to comprehend basic courtroom rules, claiming it's against his religion to follow statutes. Judge Simpson doesn't entertain that excuse, emphasizing that religion is irrelevant here. The law is clear, whether you understand it or not, it applies to everyone equally. This moment perfectly illustrates the gap between fantasy and reality. The defendant thinks legal loopholes exist just because he recites certain phrases, but the judge is already thinking 2 steps ahead. And for the audience, ask yourself, how would you respond if someone tried to argue that basic laws don't apply to them? Could you imagine trying that in real life? This is why courts have competency evaluations, to ensure defendants even grasp what's happening before wasting time on a trial. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The defendant refuses to comprehend basic courtroom rules, claiming it's against his religion to follow statutes. Judge Simpson doesn't entertain that excuse, emphasizing that religion is irrelevant here. The law is clear, whether you understand it or not, it applies to everyone equally. This moment perfectly illustrates the gap between fantasy and reality. The defendant thinks legal loopholes exist just because he recites certain phrases, but the judge is already thinking 2 steps ahead. And for the audience, ask yourself, how would you respond if someone tried to argue that basic laws don't apply to them? Could you imagine trying that in real life? This is why courts have competency evaluations, to ensure defendants even grasp what's happening before wasting time on a trial.
The Tariq Muratari Kadeh Living Trust and the registered owner of the Tariq Muratari Kadeh Ex Relatione Kindaman Wilson Estate.
Right. So you are appearing here without an attorney. I do have to advise you that you are charged with the offense of fleeing and eluding in the 3rd degree under the Motor Vehicle Code. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years incarceration and/or a $1,000 fine plus court costs. Additionally, the Secretary of State could suspend your driving privileges for up to a year. Do you understand that, sir?
I comprehend.
Do you understand?
I comprehend, yes.
The court has to further advise you that if you wish to be represented by counsel, the court would ensure that counsel would be appointed to represent you in this matter and that you would have counsel if you could not afford to hire counsel yourself. I also wish to advise you that the court would be treating you the same as it would the people in this case. There are certain dangers to representing yourself in this matter, in that you will be required to abide by the Michigan court rules, the Michigan rules of evidence, and all of the cases and statutory requirements. You understand that?
I do not.
You do not. What is it about that you do not understand?
It's against my religion to adhere or to assimilate to any statutory.
Sir, I'm not asking anything about your religion. It is irrelevant to me. I am indicating that in this proceeding, you will be required to abide by the rules of this court. Do you understand that?
I'm having a hard time understanding why or how religion doesn't play a role.
How what?
How religion does not play a role.
Religion does not play a role in what I do or what this court does.
Here's a critical turning point. The judge starts questioning the defendant's competency. Why? Because when someone repeatedly dodges clear questions, the court has to step in. The defendant tries to negotiate, saying he'll agree to a competency evaluation only if everyone else, including the judge, also takes one. That's laughable. You can feel the tension rise. Judge Simpson shuts this down instantly, asserting, "You don't get to make the rules." This moment perfectly highlights the difference between authority rooted in law and authority imagined in fantasy. The courtroom isn't a negotiation table, and no amount of clever phrasing can override actual procedure. This is a rare, live demonstration of how a court protects itself from chaos while maintaining fairness.
There are certain rules of this court established by the legislature and the Michigan Supreme Court regarding how these particular proceedings will be conducted. These proceedings will be conducted in accord with those rules. Do you understand that, sir?
Well, according to the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, as well as the international or the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, the state and the governments should.
Sir, you have no authority for what you are on indigenous lands. If that's where you're going, then maybe you might be right. As it stands right now, this proceeding is not on indigenous land.
Well, that's a matter of perspective, sir.
It is, and the only perspective that's going to matter on that is mine. We are not on indigenous lands subject to indigenous or tribal rules. You are subject to the rules of the Michigan Supreme Court as they are promulgated, both in terms of procedure and evidence. Do you understand that that's what's happening, sir?
I do not.
What is it that you do not understand?
I don't understand.
Because I'm going to tell you something, sir. If you are unable to establish or understand what I'm saying, and go through this with you again, I have to assume that there may be some reason why you don't understand. This court will take precautions to protect your rights, and I will be sending you for a competency evaluation to make sure that you are competent to stand trial and to stand in these proceedings.
Well, I would agree to a competency if the prosecution, as well as the court and the officers agree to take a competency.
That's not the way it works. You don't get to make the rules. I'm ordering a competency.
I'm not making.
Defendant is ordered for a forensic evaluation. I will set a competency hearing in this matter for July 25th, 2024. At what time? At 9 a.m. Now, sir, I'm going to ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Because it's going to depend on where you may be staying for a period of time. If they send you information as to when you have your forensic interview,
yes, sir,
are you going to cooperate and attend that interview?
Under threat, duress, and coercion, yes.
Pardon?
Under threat, duress, and coercion, yes.
Next, Judge Simpson tries to get a straight answer about whether the defendant will cooperate with the forensic interview. You'd think a simple yes or no would suffice, right? Not with a sovereign citizen. He hides behind phrases like under threat, arrest, and coercion, clearly trying to complicate the issue. This is another classic tactic. They believe that by declaring everything under duress, they can later claim it doesn't count. The judge, however, cuts through the nonsense and forces clarity. It's a masterclass in courtroom patience, strategy, and authority. And for viewers, think about it. How often do we underestimate the patience required to uphold the law in real-time confrontations like this?
What are, what are you relaying to in regard? What are you insinuating in regards to where I will stay for a time?
I'm going to make sure that we are going to have our forensic interview done. I've ordered a forensic interview. I am asking you whether or not, when given notice of that interview, whether or not you are going to voluntarily cooperate in that interview.
I will take the interview.
Excuse me?
I will take the interview.
Anything from the people?
With the court, ask the people to prepare the order for the competency.
Yes, please prepare the order for this. Is that your address, sir?
Excuse me? That's correct.
All right, very good.
And so I will send a copy to that address.
Very good. All right. This time then bond is continued.
Yes, sir. And I'm sorry, can I get that date again, please, sir? I can put it in my calendar.
July 25th, you were supposed to, so I'm assuming you're waiving it. You were supposed to file your motion with.
I did. I filed it.
When did you file it?
I brought it in today.
Do we have it?
I gave it, I mean, it was stamped and everything. I gave it to the reception.
Why didn't you file it before?
Now, the focus shifts to the defendant's motion filing, or lack thereof. He misses the deadline and hands the document to the receptionist instead of filing it properly. Classic sovereign citizen behavior: ignore deadlines, then blame the court. Judge Simpson cuts through this immediately. Procedure isn't optional, and excuses won't fly. This part is almost painful to watch, because the defendant clearly doesn't get it. The audience can see why these tactics fail spectacularly in real life. Rules, deadlines, and filings aren't bureaucratic annoyances. They exist to keep the system fair and functional. And this interaction perfectly shows the tension between personal belief and institutional authority.
Well, as I stated at the last hearing,
No, don't go through what you stated at the last hearing.
well, you
You
asked.
knew that, no, you knew it was supposed to be filed before the day. Young man, you're gonna
That's it.
figure out something. We're playing by my rules, not yours. So you know, do not say anything because you're gonna figure that out real soon. Do they have it?
I have not received a response yet.
Since I'm sending in for a competency, I can't hear that. I can't hear his motion in any event. So I won't hear his motion at this time. He'll have to refile it timely if he's determined to be competent. So I'll have his bond continue. He can go. What?
I didn't get the last part that you said. The bond continued and what?
I said you.
To wrap this up, the case highlights the clash between a sovereign citizen's imaginary rules and the real authority of the court. Judge Simpson stayed calm, patient, and firm, ensuring procedure and law prevailed at every turn. The defendant tried everything: religious exemptions, indigenous claims, misfiled motions, but nothing worked. The final ruling: a competency evaluation, bond continued, and the court moving forward without delay. It's a masterclass in courtroom authority and why legal procedure is non-negotiable. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.